To Dhaka, we'll find all your cousins. I'll tell them you love them, and I'll do what's right. We'll stand at the embassy, we're protesting everything, and I'll take your picture and you'll sing my song. It goes, I don't want you anymore.
Thank you.
I wish that you were here.
Hi everyone, welcome to This CanAsian Life. My name is Rekha.
And I'm Gabby.
And today we're here with artist Carley Okamura, and we're gonna be eating some food.
Yeah. So what do we bring today?
Oh yeah, so today we heard that you love Vietnamese food. So we got that Vietnamese food for you. We've got some salad rolls, some green onion cakes, and the vermicelli bowl, of course. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig in.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite part about Vietnamese food?
Well, it's just such a great meal, you know, at the end of the day, or if you've been active or if you've been doing something. And there's so many different locations across Edmonton, lots of local businesses. And they also often carry bubble tea, which is
Yes, I love bubble tea. What's your favorite bubble tea?
Is it bougie to say like the Earl Grey milk tea?
No, I love it. I love it. I have to say, I started trying different bubble teas because I'm always like, I know what I like, I'm gonna stick with it.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, it is hard not to, but I've tried Earl Grey before and it's so good. It's like, treat yourself, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
What's your favorite Vietnamese dish?
Oh, I get just your basic vermicelli or rice, the meat and everything. It's so fresh, it's so filling, it's really easy to find all over Edmonton, so can't complain.
Yeah, I feel like it's always gonna be good no matter what. Like it's just gonna be the best. Like pho can be hard. Mm-hmm. It's like a hit or miss. Mm-hmm. And then also if you want to do delivery for pho,
Nope.
it's a rough time.
It's painful because it never ever arrives like you're supposed to have it. It's always like a little bit cold and you're like, I guess I'll microwave it.
Can I plug locally again? So the normal portion of pho is, you know, massive, and that can work for some people. Doesn't always work for me, and then you can't really keep it the next day.
Yeah.
So there's some businesses on delivery apps that have the child portion that is still massive and is very affordable, and it's just perfect when that is what you need.
But does it come with the scissors? That's all I ever want.
No.
I love I never even knew that until I went to and they're like cutting it. I'm like, what?
Do you
No, we
normally
do it for the
get scissors with your delivery?
Well, I mean, I would love some. If you guys could throw it, you would get a 5-star rating for sure.
Free scissors with every meal, dude.
That would be awesome.
Your office supplies, always good.
Yeah, always ready to go.
Okay. Moment of truth.
Oh.
Crunchy, chewy.
Can you try it again for the ASMR one time? Oh, that's nice.
That was a good one. Oh my God, that one was perfect.
Awesome.
Not even planned.
I'll give you a green onion cake. That was so sad.
It squeaked.
They let out like the cry for help, like please stop this. I'm like, all right, cool, that's fair.
I have to say, I don't mind a chewy green onion cake. Spring roll, crispy, but those ones, it's okay.
Let me see.
So, I'm a huge lover of puns, and I've noticed that pho has some of the greatest ones. What do you think is the best one that you've heard of? Or seen?
There's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great opportunity.
No.
They play on it well.
I've seen Fabulous. Mm-hmm. Good. I've seen What the Faux. Yeah. I've seen Faux Show. Sure. Faux Show.
Rekha,
It's not appropriate.
Were you saying the one I was? What's the
Yeah.
one you're thinking of?
It's like, well, like my brain for a really long time believed it was like the faux king, like it's like you're,
Yeah.
Like the king of-
That's the one I was gonna say.
When you're the
Like,
king
it
of
just-
faux.
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
But
that's
if
what that is.
you
But
pronounce faux properly,
then it's no.
That's a multi-layer.
it's not okay.
Well,
It's not okay.
they're still in business and doing very well for themselves. So
I think about them often.
yeah. See, so it works.
They live in my mind rent free.
Yep.
Truly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They're cackling right now thinking about it.
All right, so today, since we have Carley here joining us, could you please tell us a little bit about your artistic practices? You have so many hats, I believe, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. You don't always stop to think about it. Primarily, I play Japanese drums, or taiko, and I've been playing taiko for 20 years. This year is my 20th anniversary.
Oh,
that's
that's awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You know, and finding myself here, it's kind of crazy looking back and seeing, you know, all the adventures and experiences I've had with that. I started taiko as a teenager. I was 16. And I started with the group here, Kita no Taiko, which is the oldest group in Alberta.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And I continue on in that group. I'm currently president of that group.
That's awesome.
Moves up in
Wow.
the ranks for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
And in 2020, I started my own company called Rabbits 3 Cultural Connections. And the goal of that company is to produce collaborative pieces or productions from cultural arts. So of course what I bring to the table is Japanese drumming, but I work with other artists and other artistic disciplines and cultural disciplines. So it's not only drumming, and the idea behind collaboration is to learn about those groups, their practices and their cultures. As we know, Edmonton has such a diverse multicultural community, and everyone kind of knows these groups. Like, oh, I saw those Japanese drummers at Heritage Fest. I saw
Yes.
those dancers here and those artists here. We know about them, but we don't really know, you know, about them. And we don't see them working, you know, with others. We just see them in certain contexts. So I really hope to uplift those local groups and these local arts and, you know, continue to grow.
Very cool, very cool. So like, what got you into taiko drumming in the first place? Was it just like a cultural exploration? How did that start for you?
So the group I mentioned, Kita no Taiko, was formed in 1986, which is also the year I was born.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're like sisters. And so growing up, that group always performs at Heritage Festival amongst other local festivals, and we continue to actually. So when I was growing up, I saw them every year at Heritage Festival, and it was my favorite thing. And I looked forward to it every year. And so when I was able to apprentice and join the group, it's like, I'm going to perform at Heritage Festival, the thing that I watched
That's
growing
awesome.
up, and you know, how cool is that? So that was a really big deal. But that was, you know, 20 years ago, and ever since, like, there's been so many adventures, different locations, different kinds of shows, different creations and productions. So using the Japanese drums as a creative outlet, as a storytelling tool, it's really, really rewarding.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And do you guys do a lot of performances throughout the year then with other groups too?
So in pre-COVID times, Kita no Taiko is busy throughout the year.
Okay.
You can see us at Heritage Festival, at other kind of mainstays like Kaleido Festival, occasionally the Fringe, occasionally for Japanese festivals like the Natsu Matsuri offered by the Edmonton Japanese Community Association, and previously for the Kurimoto Spring Festival at the Devonian Gardens. Now, both of those currently have not resumed, but you can always check our website and see what's coming up.
That's right. One day soon, when COVID is finally gone and out of our lives, hopefully.
But I have to say, for Rabbits 3, like I mentioned, I started in 2020, the best time to, you know, start new ventures. Of
course.
But honestly, it really worked out for me, because in that quiet time, I was writing grants, I was meeting with people, I was really figuring out the focus and the aim without the pressure of needing to do things right away. And I have to say, I feel, you know, very honored since then. I have been fairly busy. And, you know, with that one, it won't be sort of a regular schedule, but it's those creative, collaborative opportunities when they come up that'll be really special to work with. So you can keep an eye on Rabbits 3 to check out what's happening there too.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say I did check out the site, of course, because the research team here is amazing. Sometimes, and I noticed that you had done a piece on model minority, and we were approached to do a piece as well, and I remember that we were approached to do microaggressions and model minority myth, and I knew what microaggressions was. I actually had no idea about what model minority was, and I was like, I'm gonna quickly wiki this and understand what it is. But do you find that many people, like, there isn't enough light shed on that topic? And why was that topic kind of important to you to shed light on?
So the model minority, as we know, is kind of a generalization of stereotypes for Asians in North America, Asian Canadians. And it's a really interesting topic because it kind of is just the summary of the Asian Canadian experience for many people as a generalization. I started my production series and called it The Model Minority in 2017. At a time when I thought politically things couldn't get any crazier. So
Little did you know. Yeah, that's
surprise.
right.
So in 2017, I was just thinking, like, you know, there's all these things and topics for Asian Canadians that we don't really talk about, or, you know, you don't see depicted in media. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek why I said, well, we're going to call it model minority, because what it implies is that Asian Canadians can be defined by certain stereotypes as a monolith, and that in general we are, you know, better at things. Or, you know, it can be really used as a tool that we're better than other immigrant groups or other ethnic groups. So ultimately it's negative. But a lot of the stereotypes are positive, you know, such as being good in class, or being, you know, good at things generally, or being hard workers, or being polite. Things that when you say you're polite, you're like, great. But when it's used as a stereotype to generalize a population, then it becomes negative. And under that larger umbrella, there's a number of other stereotypes that people would be familiar with that I wanted to explore in the 2017 production. So for that production, I first sent out an anonymous Google form for people to fill out, because it's talking about personal things. And often the experience we find is that Asian Canadian populations are hesitant to talk about these things, either because they don't think it's that big a deal, or because it's embarrassing.
Yeah, we minimize it quite a bit. Like any kind of experience that you're gonna have, especially in school or in public, like for me growing up, I didn't have a lot of Asian friends. So there was like this expectation that you would behave a certain way if you're Asian, but then you're supposed to look a certain way if you're Asian, and like grouping together, and then the idea of like a token in each group is, you minimize it because you're like, oh, that's just how it is.
No, 100% compound on that, in that, like, when we did our piece, Chris C did an awesome job on it. One of the big negatives is that the whole myth of like, keep your head down, just keep trucking, and then don't kind of organize or rebel or kind of just point out things that are incorrect. And it had it very much, not like, that really hit me, because like, yeah, that is true. Like, I remember like coming here, and so many times when there'd be issues because like I'm still an immigrant, my parents were like, don't make trouble. And if anything happens, just shut up and endure it. And then it was like, I wish I spoke up, and I wish I said this was awful, but very much so it was like, hush, we need to like fit in and don't stick out, and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, exactly.
And with those experiences as well, there's the idea of generations and intergenerational experiences and trauma. So, you know, it's hard to tell our parents or our grandparents it's not that big a deal, when to them it could have been. And they just don't want anything to happen to you.
Totally.
Because for them, they're seeing from the side of like their experiences, right, in that time, and they're like, well, when we try to even very gently talk about these things, there's a huge backlash. And now that you're able to do that here, you know, with media, content creation, and social media especially, like I consume massive amounts of social content and social media because a lot of the people that I follow have a lot of this great content that's very educational and helps me understand the things that my parents went through, the things that we're going through, and we already have another generation of people going through it in some degree or matter. And sometimes I see them rebel, and I'm like, ooh, ooh, that's spicy. But they're like, what? It's just a question. Like,
Yeah, the youth these days, they're still shaking things up.
oh, they are, and I'm just like, was I like that? What was that? Whoa.
You're sitting like, I should have done this. I originated this.
I had that idea too, but I was told, calm down a little bit.
Didn't you know we were the rebels?
Right. We paved the way.
That's right. We did it in our own way.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I kind of feel like I really missed out on these productions.
Yeah, totally.
Because I'm like, can you make another one, please? Because there's a lot that we know we experience, and then we talk about it amongst friends. Like maybe you joke about it, right? But it's not the same as actually being there for a performance that really encompasses all of that. Like what is it like to sit in on one of those performances? What do you guys show us?
Well, I have to say the 2022 production was a little heavier, a little darker than the one before. Not only because we're still in it basically, but I was less cautious to just broach things and just say, this is a problem we're going to talk about. I was a bit shyer before, but in this time, I've grown stronger in that regard. So for the 2022 production, because I approached artists and speakers, more at the beginning of the year, even longer ago, people weren't sure if they were going to be able to make it. So we had a number of videos that were cast onto the screen and live performances. So it was about half and half. And how it turned out is that the videos, which were the speakers, tended to be heavier, and they tended to share more difficult stories, their personal experiences. Or I went to resource websites such as Eliminate Hate and Act to End Racism, where they had made videos discussing the perpetual foreigner stereotype, for example, or discussing the unbelievable spike in racism in Canada that we saw happen in 2020. And I relied on those folks who already did their work, and they laid out the video and I just showed it. But it's hard. So the audience would experience that together, and then I'd throw a live performer at them. But what I felt the live performances did was kind of help to express the emotions that people may have had, because it's a lot and it's a little bit confusing, or it might be a little bit difficult. So through music, through dance, or through martial arts, we can try to communicate those emotions together so that you see it's happening to others as well. And the live artists also would kind of carry us through to the next topic as well. So it kind of could resolve this one, somewhat, and then move on to the next. So it ended up being, I think, a really well laid out journey for the audience, I hope. And of course, big thanks to the artists for putting themselves out there too.
That sounds amazing. And it sounds a lot like a lot of artists right now are trying to collaborate on like similar kind of productions or even small projects, especially for like a comedic style. That sometimes it's like, man, it's funny when you look at it in hindsight, but when you're experiencing it, it's not very funny.
It's not exactly inspirational. I know for one of the pieces, the microaggressions piece, I literally took it from an experience I had where at the beginning of the pandemic, we'd just gone to kind of restaurants before everything kind of closed down, and there was just endless microaggressions that I wasn't registering happening, because I went with a crew of some of my good Vietnamese friends who were celebrating a birthday, and it didn't dawn on me, but while we were at the restaurant, they were kind of masking up early on. They began to hand menus, and it was like every other table but our table, they'd hand the menus and items in hand. When it came to our table, they placed it at the end of the table and had to distribute. And I was like, nah, surely it must be a COVID thing. And then we leave and go into the parking lot, and everyone there is like, hey, so were we getting treated different? Because I'm like, I don't know if I can talk about this, but the vibe definitely felt like things were shifting. And so when we kind of were approached by Act to End, it was like, Yeah, I can tell you exactly a piece that happened because it literally happened 2 months ago. So this stuff was, like, it's a huge shame that, like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I feel like I want to do more, but in the process of doing more, I'm like, is it that I'm doing more because things are getting worse? And I don't want that either, right? So it's always like I'm happy to help, but also I wish I didn't have to do this and explain this and showcase this, because I'm like, it was an ultra heavy topic, even with the things that we pulled on the events that were happening. Doing that research was like, we had to stop every now and then, because I'm like, these articles are just worse and worse and worse. And I feel like, yeah, Rekha, like you said, like, I was very much like, yeah, I don't think it's as bad as it is. And then you went to Google search and I was like, there are pages of this. This sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to believe that that's happening, right? Because you don't want to believe that people are like that. And for me especially, I'm like, I don't want to believe that people treat each other differently, but you see it in front of you. You see it happen in the news, you see it happen in like social media when people share about it. So you believe that it happens, but then when it happens to you, you're like, no. But I'm like super easy to get along with. What?
Well, that's an aspect that I hoped, to present at the Model Minority event, because at that peak in 2020 is the timeline that I kind of set, when things were kind of like
extremely aggressive, like violently aggressive. Yeah.
Well, we saw Vancouver become the hate crime capital of North America, more than large American cities. We saw 700% increase in hate crime in Canada. Like, it's terrible. And as Canadians, we need to confront that, because Canadians often will deter to the state and say, well, it's going to be worse down there.
It's not as bad. We're still good. We're still the good guys.
Or we say, well, it's because of them that this happened here. But, Canadians have to take responsibility, and we do have to confront those uncomfortable things. And when it comes to Asian Canadian hate crimes, Asian Canadians also, need to talk about these things and not just, pretend. Well, they don't have to, but we can provide spaces so that people can share those experiences, because it was happening for sure.
What are some current like art or movies, shows, pop culture that you're indulging in that like, what's something you've seen recently that you're like, this was amazing, I loved it, hit it out of the park, or maybe didn't hit it out of the park?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's right, you're on the spot now.
In general, so I like video games. I play video games.
Yes, there we go.
What's your favorite?
Yeah.
I play RPGs, and I'm very specific about them. So I like fantasy era RPGs generally. Yeah. Over COVID, staying home a lot, I started to play a lot. And to kind of talk about race and representation, in that time I played Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And it's not new, like that's just when I played it for the first time. But I remember that when you do the first montage and you do your little training, and then the first kind of quest that you do, you go out into the world, and the NPC that you interacted with was ethnically Asian. And I was like, I'd never experienced it before, because we weren't set in China. It wasn't, like that kind. It was just the setting that it was, but the character was Asian, and it was wild. And then it made me think about the other big title games, the other games I played, and it's like, yes, in some cases you can make your own character if you really finagle it. You can make that representation. In other titles that are set in an Asian country or something like that, you'll see it. But this one, without like that kind of context, they just were, and I was thrilled.
That's awesome. One of my favorite games is, Gabby knows it,
Oh, Jesus.
Valorant.
That's.
I'm about it. They have a lot of different ethnicities in their characters, and they all have very different like backgrounds, and a lot of the voice actors are also like very similar, if not like quite true to their characters too, and it's just like, it's super cool. They came out with a Filipino character.
Yes, and Rekha has hoarded it over my head, because thank you Team Valorant for never having a Lebanese character that I can be happy with.
It's okay,
That's
it's okay.
fine.
One of these days, you just gotta let them do their
Eventually.
thing.
I mean, you've
Let
only
them- you got
done
Filipinos,
like
so that's good.
18 characters, but
Write
God,
the letter, dear sir or madam.
That's right. Hire me. I could be that guy. We'll do it. Yeah, but that was definitely a game that going through the roster, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome that everyone's kind of different. And then they had cars that explained what areas they were from and things like that. Like, of course, it takes place in the future, so things are completely different. But I was like, I like this. This is awesome. It was fun, and then like even their quips kind of involve the language thereof. Like now I think I say salamat a million times because
He
the
does.
character
He does.
say
He
it.
says salamat. My
Yeah.
mom, like, very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
So yeah, and like they incorporate like Korean. I think the latest one was like Turkish. Like, it's always crazy to see, and then slowly like kind of putting it into all these games. I don't think anyone's ever really complained about it. If anything, I just went in to learn what the words that they're saying were and learn more about, you know, the cultures that inspired them. So yeah, okay, that's fair.
It's pretty cool. It'd be really
So
cool
then
to see.
for the views, what was one that you were very critical of?
Oh no.
That's right. That's right. You thought you could escape,
Gosh, you could
but
dodge
no.
it.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get hate mail. So there is a game that if it weren't for this issue would be my 100% favorite game, beating out Horizon Zero Dawn. But because of this issue, it is not, and that is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Oh wow, that's
An amazing game, an amazing game. Love it. I know the books are written by a Polish person. I know the games are kind of set in a European context, kind of, but they're not. It's a fantasy world. And in that game, there are two brown characters who are like merchants from the desert, and when you go fight them, he commands sand to fly at you.
Yeah, I knew where this was going because I thought the same thing while playing it, but I was very much like, it is a great game though, but
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
That's
yeah.
why it's more disappointing because they did things so well, and here dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And I can't describe it other than being lazy. Like they're sand merchants, and
Yeah, like-
so yeah, and there was, to my recollection, one dark-skinned character who was how do you say, like a succubus character, and you slay her, and like, so here we have a world where like all these creatures, all this magic, all these possibilities, and it was all light-skinned, like Eurocentric features, and it was really disappointing that we can wrap our heads around fantastical creatures and magic in this, but not, a diverse population. I wanted to write a letter.
We're gonna like we fetishize like the female counterpart, and then we kind of just like, the male counterpart, he's got his thing.
Yeah, because I was gonna say they are making a new one, so if you wrote that letter,
Yeah, I know.
maybe they can
Yeah,
pick up a good one.
I hope, like, cause that one, I don't quite remember the year. It's too late to be forgivable, but it wasn't like last year or something.
Yeah.
So there's hope. Let's hope that our media won't let us down.
Exactly. So I really, I still in the back of my mind, actually more like the forefront of my mind, I'm still thinking about Model Minority and how I missed out. And now, it's okay, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It just means you have to create more. So I am wondering, what does Rabbids 3 have in the works? What do you have prepared, or what are you thinking about?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So first of all, you'll be happy to know that thanks to a grant from FAVA, Film and Video Society of Alberta, they actually filmed The Model Minority when it happened. So that will be available to watch on FAVA TV and on my website, and
That's awesome.
also on likely the Edmonton Heritage Council, their project eCamp, which is Edmonton City as a Museum project. It will hopefully be there as well. So,
Very
and
cool.
it will be free to access, and folks can watch, and those artists' work and those speakers' work can be shared greater. So that's for you.
Yay!
Oh, there you go.
One exciting thing I'd love to talk about, humble break about, is that I'm really excited. I got a travel grant from Edmonton Arts Council
Yay!
to travel around North America, simply visiting drumming groups. And like, it's completely open. I can choose where to go, when, and the point being that I want to learn about how groups work. Not just what their performances are like, but behind the scenes, the governance, the planning, the equipment, the practices. I just want to know how those things go. And of course, there's a connection to Japanese community within North America as well. How is it associated? How is that drumming culture expressed? And how did it grow? Where are the roots? So I called it my 20th anniversary Taiko Tiger Tour because it was the year of the tiger this year. That's also my year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for telling us your story. And now we're going to go on to find out
How CanAsian are you?
In this part, the crew will ask us a series of questions and we will answer them to find out how CanAsian we are.
And just a heads up, before anyone says so, I know that I've won these a few times before, but believe it or not, I'm not bribing the crew.
I don't believe it, but it's okay.
Diving into it, first question. In 1898, Tokutaro Shikamura and Tsukichi Kato became the first Japanese immigrants to own property in Canada. Which city was it in? A.
Vancouver?
That is correct!
Whoa!
That is correct! Jeez. By 1909, Powell Street was recorded to have 568 Japanese businesses.
Wow.
That's
68?
You can take a tour
Oh, really?
of the area. It's a historical
wait.
area.
Wait,
Have you been there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Of course. Okay. That like.
That's so cool! I never knew that.
We all know the dish pho. So what does the word pho mean in Vietnamese? A. Noodles. B. Bowl of noodles. C. Beef broth.
Rekha.
C, beef broth.
That is incorrect.
What?
It's noodles.
Noodles!
What?
Okay, we'll give it to Gabby.
Hey, Gabby, are you gonna get one right?
Okay, question number 3. Cartel Madras are a Chennai-born sisters music group based out of Calgary. What music genre are they known for? A. Rock. B. Hip hop. C. Jazz.
Carley.
Hip hop.
That is correct!
That was
Gabby's
gonna be my guess. I was gonna say hip hop just for the culture, but that's
Okay,
fine.
next question. Who was the politician who adopted a motion to officially designate May as Asian Heritage Month in Canada? A. Olivia Chow. B. Vivian Poi. C. Raj Panu.
Is it C?
That is incorrect.
What?
Give me B.
That is correct.
Yeah.
only get it if you can say the name.
I wanted to say B.
Poi?
Vivian.
Say the name!
Vivian Poi.
That's what she said.
Oh! Okay, half point for.
Half point.
Half point for Rekha.
Hey,
And, 'cause
I
he
said
didn't
B.
say he just said. And then half point for Carley.
Nice. I like it. As long as Gabby doesn't
Couldn't even
win.
say the name.
Hey, look, how about he gives the facts, I guess B, and we're good.
Don't worry
it's
about it.
multiple
Okay,
choice.
quarter point for Point
Who lost
There we
a
go.
quarter?
All right, that's
Okay, next question. How many TNT supermarkets are there in Canada? A. 16. B. 28. C. 39.
28.
That is correct.
Yes! Fight me! That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Give me the full point this time.
okay. Next question, here we go. Who is this multi-talented filmmaker, musician, actor, multimedia artist who has the Much Music VJ from 1995 to 2001? A. Paul Penn. B. Sandra Oh. C. Suk Yin Lee.
You know Sandra Oh's from Grey's Anatomy, right?
Yeah.
A.
That is incorrect.
What?
B. Sandra Oh.
That is incorrect.
Wait, no! She has to name it too, then. Name it.
I said
Oh,
C.
She didn't name it.
Whatever.
What's up,
cool.
Gabby?
All right,
Wow, we got the multiple choice
So-
police over here.
Okay, here we go. Next question.
I might be dethroned here. This is
Good.
Not looking good.
Who does Japanese-Canadian actor Hiro Kanagawa play in Star Trek Discovery? A. Dr. Hirai, B. Professor Suzuki, or C. Mr. Hiroshi?
Don't watch.
C. Mr. Hiroshi. Throw it out there.
That is incorrect.
A.
That is correct.
Hey.
Nice.
There's a
Yes.
And the fun fact, Dr. Hirai, who is one of the Federation's leading specialists in astrolinguistics, xenophonology, and theoretical semiotics in the late 32nd century. That's the character that Hiro plays.
Sure.
And with that, Carly takes home the prize!
Congratulations!
What? Wow. Thank you.
You get to keep that.
Thank you.
Any words you would like to share with everyone about your success, how you won this amazing award?
It would have been easier if I watched more Star Trek.
You hear to hear.
Can we just get the scores one time?
No, don't worry about the
No,
scores.
I
Don't
would
worry-
like to.
don't
I
worry
would
about
like
the
to
scores.
know
All we know is
how
that
this
you
is
lost.
done.
You got
just-
0.25 of something.
Yeah, see? You
0.25.
regardless, you lost, so it's fine. We don't need to know. We just know
Look.
Carly won. All right, guys, make sure that you're following along with Carly's socials and check out what she's putting out next. Thank you for being our winner this time.
Yeah, good job. It was awesome.
And our second place, but still the greatest, Gabby, would you like to take us out of the show?
What was this consolation prize? Thanks. I've been Gabby. This has been Rekha. Thank you guys for watching.
This CanAsian Life! Thank you so much for bringing your drum, Carly. What can you tell us about it? Can you show us a little bit of something?
Sure. So this drum today is actually a little bit special. It's a small one. Normally this kind of drum that has the solid wood body is about this tall on its own. So this is a little baby drum, and it's here on a stand that was built for me by my dad, my Tycho dad. He's built all the stands for my Rabbits 3 drums, so we're on TV, Dad.
Shut up.
Yeah, so I can play a little bit. Now, I didn't know this is going to happen, so I wore a dress today. So there's a certain stance that you have to do when you're playing the drum that I won't really be able to do. So I'm hoping maybe you two can to share the spirit.
Tell me what you need.
All right, so let's have the left foot forward and the right foot back. And you two are gonna have to get much lower than I am. And you're gonna have to extend your arms as if you're gonna play the drum. Very good. All right, ready?
Yeah.
So,
That was awesome.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
yeah, that's good. Next step, the stage.
Oh my god, yes.
Do you think we could?
Would you like to try? All right, please. Okay, let's see the stance.
Yes, of course. Left
Yes.
foot out,
Yes.
right foot slide. Yeah.
Goes.
Got it. All right.
Hey.
Oh, I have to go height. Okay. Height.
Very good. No, it's great. Shall we bow to the audience?
Yes.